Good evening, Waikato. So this title, if you can see the title, this could refer to my own trajectory, but it could also refer to the trajectory of a lot of research, which in artificial intelligence, which starts in Waikato and finds itself all over the world. So my own trajectory. So I feel the need to insist that I was born and bred in New Zealand. I say that I need to insist because every time I go back to New Zealand, people ask me where I'm from, and I say New Zealand, and they say, "No, you're not." Um, I was born in Auckland. I'll sweep this detail under the carpet, but I spent most of my formative years, undergraduate and PhD in Waikato, the University of Waikato. Then I went off to Spain to do a postdoc, and that's where the issue started, because I found that they could all understand each other speaking English. They could all speak English in the department, but they couldn't understand my English. So I had to, of course, I wanted to insist that they should learn my version of English, but in the end, I had to adapt a bit so I could be understood. Then another postdoc, and so Helsinki, that was a bit cooler, a bit too cool, actually. Some of the winters there. So then down to France, yes, some rough assistant professor years, and then eventually professor at École Polytechnique, which is this institute, the southwest of Paris. So it's in this circle, in the center of the circle, which I highlighted, which is about 10 kilometers in diameter. So it could enclose most of Hamilton. But there's a lot in common. So there are some things in common with Waikato. I mean, it's on the outs. It's not in the inner cities campus, so you see a bit of green and a little artificial lake and this kind of thing. And there's a high density of experts in AI, so that's also in common. There's a few differences. My 3-year-old daughter, for example, has never seen a cow before. This is like unicorns and dinosaurs. She only sees them in books. Of course, lockdown primitives don't help in finding these kinds of animals, but I'm sure we would have managed if we were still in Waikato. And yeah, sometimes I'm cycling into Paris, cycling into campus, and then I come across regiments of students prancing around with swords, sometimes on horses, like it's 1794. I didn't see this at Waikato when I was there, but yeah, it does happen at École Polytechnique, though not recently. Of course, I've been on campus in several months from one of those high COVID countries at the moment. I just thought about mentioning two projects which I've been involved in, and started when I was at Waikato, and have kind of made it out into the larger sphere of things. For example, Mecha. So of course you know Weka. If you even before Ian mentioned it. So Mecha is basically a wrapper around Weka, which lets it do some approaches to multi-label learning. So this is where you can assign multiple labels per instance. So you make multiple decisions. It's a slight extension on the, say, classical machine learning supervised multi-class view. It's also got a wrapper to Mo, which is another Waikato expert in terms of open source software. And I remember putting this together, just putting my code together during my PhD, because that's what people did at Waikato. I saw this, so I thought, okay, well, put together a framework. And then I remember being amazed the first time. I was so excited when someone actually wrote me a message, some neurophysiologist. They wanted to model comorbidities and psychological profiles, or something that sounded very serious and interesting. And I was really, I never thought this far ahead that someone would actually use it. And well, since then it's picked up nearly 100,000 downloads, and it's well cited, this paper that we knocked out. So thanks to also Peter Reutemann, who helped turn it into a more serious framework with a proper GUI and whatnot. Bernard and Jeff were my thesis supervisors at the time, and yeah, it's been used for a lot of activities. Even we've used it. So this is your director Albert Buffet of the institute. So with Antti Purula, another Waikato PhD graduate, we won a Kaggle competition, and I remember using this framework for that. One of the methods inside the framework, so this is the second project I want to mention, classified chains. So this is one of the methods. Very very simple idea, actually. So I mentioned you're making multiple decisions. So we thought, okay, you make multiple decisions, then you can use these decisions to make the other decisions. So use them as features. And gave it the name classified chain. So it took 1 year to show that it works, and then it's been over a decade, and people are still trying to figure out how it works, which has generated a lot of discussion in the literature. Hundreds, well, thousands of now citations, trying to figure this out and how to make it better. So this method has its own gravity. I could never escape. I just found myself coming back to it. Again, especially because it got the Test of Time Award for ECML PKDD 10 years later, and so we recently had to follow this up in with a review paper reviewing the people that had discussed our and tried to improve over this original method. Now there's a lot going on that I could mention. So these are some which have some connection to Waikato or collaboration with Waikato. So of course the classified chains are done now. So we have to do regressive chains and figure out how they work and make them better. Which there's a lot of interesting stuff that you can do with those also. And then there's streams. So this is work with the great team there at Waikato. So there's Albert Buffet, of course, and Eiter and Jakob have done a great job putting together some other open source frameworks, which are also very well known, and some state-of-the-art methods for learning from streams. So everything happens dynamically these days. It's not like the old days of fixed Excel tables sitting around. So there's a lot to do there, and then also we've got Himanshu Okisa. He's doing a co-supervised PhD between École Polytechnique and Waikato. He'll be joining here if they let him into the country from France by the end of the year, hopefully to continue there. So a drift again, but with a view of reinforcement learning. So I actually only recently learned that I knew Ian Whitten from undergraduate. I remember the first computer science lecture I got from him my first day at computer science degree. But I didn't know until recently that he was also an expert in reinforcement learning. I learned this because I saw his name in a textbook I was using to teach the subject at École Polytechnique. And I looked it up, and it was the same Whitten. Health informatics. So this is there's a lot of data here. Very important domain. Lots of streaming data, of multi-dimensional data, machine translation, and what else? Climate, vegetation modeling. So this is with Indre Julvaite. She's in Helsinki, but she did visit Waikato at some point. In fact, I have a theory that most good AI researchers have to visit Waikato during their careers, and some of them stay there. Just look around you, and you'll see quite a few. A second related theory is I found that a lot of good AI researchers know Albert Buffet, who's it's great to see him in one of the pilot seats of this AI artificial intelligence initiative. this institute. So he's had a lot of impact on leading AI research. I've seen it around the world. Everyone I meet knows him and his work, and also my own career, he had a significant impact. So it's great to see him there. And I think this is a great vehicle for ensuring the continuation of Waikato's impact in the international community, a local community as well, of course, but then the international community in the years to come. So I'll be able to continue bragging to the world that I'm from Waikato, even if I have to insist a little bit sometimes. So thank you Waikato for listening now, and for all the the networking, the Nibbles, drinks, and AI in my formative years in and around campus.